Cosmic beings. Welcome to Being Cosmick. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am so glad that each and every one of you are here. My name is Devon, and I will be doing a collective message today. So, with that, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Okay, we've got the fifth chakra, Archangel Gabriel. It's in the upright though. I don't know if it was yesterday or a couple days ago. This one was in reverse. So there's definitely an activation, or it's almost like I'm feeling like like an unblocking that has been happening in the throat chakra, which is great. That's it governs communication. So anything that has to do with communication comes through the throat chakra. So even writing, even though you're not speaking, it's still a form of communication. Um, so what's going on with the communication? With the throat. The color's blue and it sits at the throat. Why do I want it to come up? Anxiety. Okay. So there could be some anxiety around speaking your truth and communication. Maybe you're being called to speak in some way when it comes to this anxiety. Or it could be one of those like the anxiety is lifting. Is it lifting? Oh no, let's see. Oh, an indecision. Okay. So we've got indecision and anxiety that fell on top of the throat chakra. So this is what is affecting your ability to fully, openly communicate. And then we've got cornucopia. So you're manifesting something. This is the life of your dreams. This is dream reality stuff. This is master manifester energy. So hmm, hmm, okay. Oh, okay. We've got adjacent possibilities, man holding a heart, and deceit. What? Okay. So the man holding the heart is a masculine energy who's in love. That's really what's coming through here. So, and then I'm hearing that alone is provoking some anxiety. Um, okay. And then adjacent possibilities and deceit. So how does that this is like many doors of opportunity opening up for you, and when it's one of these, like there's other. No, that's not the message. Okay, heard. um Interesting. Okay, so I'm getting the shortcut energy again. It's this thing of like this could be for masculine. Yeah, I'm getting a masculine thread of energy. If a feminine thread comes through, I'll let you know, but yeah, this could be for a masculine collective. Okay, what I'm getting is that there's a door that you have available to you that will it's like a shortcut to your dream timeline. It's like a quantum jump. So this is where all of a sudden you wake up and 2 months later, nothing in your life looks the same. Like everything leveled up. Connections, relationships, like living location, finances, opportunities, resources, like everything levels up. Your physical body is, healthier. Like you physically look healthier and glowing. Yeah, and I'm getting some blocked communication energy coming through. So there's something about yeah, okay. This might be the same thread of energy I've been picking up on for a little bit. So um there's something about communicating and making a decision and releasing some of this anxiety when it comes to what's going on in your heart space. So this and because of this card, I am getting that it is having feelings for somebody. Um and I'm not getting that this is a person that you're currently in a relationship with. Yeah, okay, for some of you, yeah, this is the energy I was picking up on yesterday. It's the energy of being pulled in two different directions. When it comes to listening to your heart. And then deceit. So this can be self-deceit, this can be limiting beliefs, things like that. This can also indicate somebody who's in a deceitful energy that's around you. Um, and I'm hearing that's causing some of this anxiety as well. Okay. Hostilities and strategy. Okay. You could be arguing with somebody. You could definitely be arguing with somebody. Because we've got very similar cards coming out as yesterday. Um, with hostilities, this can indicate like actually arguing with somebody. It can also be like internal conflict, but I'm really getting that there's some external conflict going on that's causing anxiety. It's 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 assisting you in staying in this indecision energy, and you're being called to really tap in to this energy and come up with a plan on how to shift out of this energy. And it involves walking away from something. Okay, so what's coming through is you've got other opportunities. We always have a bunch of opportunities available to us at all times. That's just kind of how that works. The thing is it's one of these like most of these doors are leading you to down paths that are going to continue to carry this energy of anxiety, deceit, hostilities. It's just uncomfortable, it's unpleasant, it's painful, it's arguing, it's not seeing eye to eye with people, it's stale, stagnancy, that kind of thing. And then there's this big door at the end here that's open, and this is like the shortcut to your dream timeline. But it requires you to take a huge leap of faith. And I do feel like this is that communication energy. So this is communicating with somebody about some suppressed or repressed feelings, something like that. And simply by doing that, it's not even like getting together with that person necessarily. For a lot of you, I do feel like that is a possibility, but it's more just you expressing those emotions, you allowing yourself to tap in, be open, honest, and vulnerable with another person about some of these deep, deep feelings. And what that's going to do is it's energetically going to shift you, and it's going to help you pull out of this. I'm hearing toxic energy. I mean, it feels pretty toxic. This is not the energy that's conducive to um, a peaceful life experience. I'll just put it that way. And then with walking away, that could be part of what's causing this anxiety as well, is feeling like you're being pulled to walk away from something that you maybe were previously locked in on. Maybe it was one of those like you were like, this is life, this is how life is gonna be. It is what it is. I am getting kind of a um it's kind of a player energy, but it's not really player. It's more of just like you might be like have had committed relationships, but it's one of those like I don't feel like most of these people that you've engaged with have really been like the one, more or less, like the one that truly holds your heart. And that could be a huge part of this realization that you've been having is, oh shit, I am indeed in love with somebody. And it's not this person or that person, it's actually this person. And what do I do with this information now? Okay, the recommended action Well, I mean, we've got action. So there's a couple things coming through. One, you are being called to take some action when it comes to communicating your truth. You really, really are. That just keeps coming up and keeps coming up. So you're really being asked to take this action and communicate your truth with somebody because that alone is going to help shift your energy. It's going to help release everything that you've been like internally struggling with for probably quite a while in this energy that I'm feeling. And so definitely, there's that. It's also coming through to make sure that you are amping up self-care, rest when you need to rest, or, when possible. Um, healthier choices for yourself and your energy. This is like physical health, yes, but it's also energetic health. So this is being mindful of who you're spending a lot of time with. Because if you're hanging out, if you're doing everything to be like physically healthy, but then you're hanging out with people that are draining your energy all the time, or that you're arguing with or fighting with, or there's a lot of conflict all around you, that will drain your energy, and that can still cause that can lead to, physical health issues at some point. So, it's really about resting and rejuvenating your entire energetic system, letting emotions flow when they come up. um and it might be like, for me personally, especially as an adult now, it's one of those, like, if there's an emotion that comes up and I'm not in a place to process it, then I'll get back to it and then process it later. But it's making sure that you're not suppressing and repressing those emotions anymore, because that as well can lead to, health issues later on. Woman holding a coin. Is that a karmic energy? Okay. Sometimes this comes through as a karmic energy, and I'm getting that this is a karmic energy for you. So this is somebody who's in your life that is teaching you a lesson. I'm getting a little bit of a narcissistic vibe. Very, self-centered, very materially focused. This is not somebody who has the ability to hold space for another person. This is somebody who the conversation always goes back to them no matter what. They're probably reacting to a lot of unhealed traumas and all of that fun jazz. So whoever this person is, it could be platonic, it could be romantic, it just depends. This is somebody currently in your life right now that I feel like is causing a lot of difficulty. It's unsettled, it's unrest. It's this isn't somebody that you go and hang out with and your nervous system relaxes. I'll just put it that way. This is somebody, when you go to hang out with them, your nervous system starts to react, to activate. It activates into that fight or flight mode because your body's registering the connection or this person as unsafe in some way. Um in you know yeah. And again, it's not saying that, they're intentionally doing that or this or that. People can be narcissistic and it's not intentional. It's just from their own inner wounding, and, for the lack of actually going through some of the healing processes that can cause somebody to lean more on that side of the scale. When we're talking true actual narcissist that would be diagnosable, it's a little bit that's kind of a little bit different. I'm not getting that full energy. Maybe for some of you that is what you're dealing with. Which ugh, hang in there. It's brutal to be in that dynamic. But it's one of those things, like, if you look at it on a scale, we've got empathy on this side and narcissism on this side, and then it's a scale. And then sometimes, when we're processing something and it's really, really heavy and it's hard, somebody passed away and we're grieving and all of that, we're going to lean more on this side of that scale when it comes to narcissist versus empath, because we're going through something. And so our ability to hold space for somebody else and help somebody else process stuff, or, show up in that way, it's not as much. We're more, focused on ourselves and processing our thing. That, it's a scale. It goes back and forth. But this is somebody that is more consistently on this side of the scale. that's coming through. And so I feel like this is somebody, and maybe that's part of what's going on. Maybe you're getting the awareness of this dynamic and it's causing pain and anxiety. Which I mean, yeah, that's it's always a doozy when you have that realization. Um, that being said, because we're talking mental health and stuff like that, really difficult, challenging things. If you're really struggling with your mental health, seek out professional assistance. Find somebody that can help you process some of this stuff, especially if you are really like trying to pull away from a narcissist or something like that. Get some assistance with that. On the other side of this, we have action and happy family. And that is over here with walking away, adjacent possibilities, and cornucopia. And I'm hearing exit strategy. So for some of you, you have somebody else that you have deep feelings for that you could move towards. And possibly for some of you, it's like you could spark this new energy with this person. And so you can actually leave the person that is more cold and not as far on their healing journey, we'll say. And you could actually take some action towards this other person who does have a different energy. It's more of a this energy over here is somebody who is more awake, aware, has done a lot of the internal healing, probably gone through a dark night of the soul or two or three, processed a lot, healed a lot, integrated a lot of the traumas. So they're not walking around in a very unhealed, unwounded, wounded, triggered state all the time. This is kind of like the opposite of that energy. Um, but there's a lot of unknown energy around that situation, and there's a part of you that feels like it's not as it appears to be with this other person that is in a different energy, that's in more of a soft, warm, nurturing energy. Okay. So I paused it really quick to blow my nose. And I was kind of just feeling into this energy a little more. And it's so what's going on is you're being pulled in two different directions. And you're not sure. I feel like you're kind of in a confusion energy. You're not exactly sure what to do with the awareness that you've been being given by the divine. And part of it is this energy over here, whatever you're dealing with, it's a feminine energy. It doesn't have to mean it's a gender feminine, just to be clear. This can be like a guy. Um, it's just an energy thing. This is somebody who oftentimes what we'll see is you'll actually see unhealed people in the opposite polarity. So you'll see, and I'm just going to use the two genders for now, just for an example. But you'll see like women who are very wounded, they are embodying a lot of their masculine energy out of safety and survival. You'll see wounded men in their feminine energy because of unhealed wounds and things like that. So this isn't gender specific. This is a feminine energy, somebody who is, but it's a wounded energy. This is somebody who is very much, I'm getting a little bit of victim mentality, woe is me. And it's hard, especially if you are more of an empath or more compassionate or more understanding. You have the ability to hold space when you're dealing with somebody who's, had such a rough life and oh, every person that they've ever met has been just so bad to them, and then you want to come in and help them. And yes, like I do resonate with this. I have very much been in that energy where you're trying to save other people and help them through their shit. But the thing is if somebody wants to do the actual healing work, You can assist them, but when you are trying to help somebody who doesn't actually want to look at some of these shadow aspects, some of these things, what is it about me that's causing me to attract these certain dynamics in my life? Let's get to the root of this. Let's heal this and change this. That's one thing if they're in that energy and then you help them. Um if it's somebody who is just perpetually a victim, everybody around them has always hurt them, and then you are trying to be the savior, it just will end with you being energetically drained because this is not somebody who actually wants to do the work to heal, to get to the point to have a balanced connection. For a lot of you, I am getting that this is a romantic partner that you are currently with. That's just kind of the energy coming through. But it doesn't have to be. This could be a parent, this could be a best friend, this could be a sibling. I mean, it could be anybody. But eh, I'm getting for a lot of you, this is a romantic person, and that's part of this being pulled in two different directions. Yep, there's confirmation. Okay. So, I'm hearing for some of you, it actually might be more than one person around you, which again, understand, I mean, it sucks, but understand that when you're on a spiritual journey, when you come here to earth to wake up and remember and walk this path, you will oftentimes be surrounded by people that are toxic in some way because you are being invited on a consistent basis to go within and to heal what it is within you that is attracting that dynamic. And then that's part of the awakening journey. That's part of fully shifting your energy and so on and so forth. So understand that it is for a reason. And that's not the way that it has to be. And that's something else. If you've been experiencing this dynamic with people for a very long time, it is hard to see and understand that that is not something that you are just going to have to deal with for the rest of your life. Um, but it's one of these, like, that's what's coming through in these cards here is you are being given an out. That's what this adjacent possibilities card is really about. You're being given an out. You're being given this opportunity that's being divinely orchestrated so that you can shift out of this energy and not have to deal with this type of dynamic on a regular basis. We're humans, we're going to deal with people who are unhealed and so on and so forth and operating from their unhealed stuff. That is just a part of the human experience. But when you learn the lessons and you shift your energy to a point, you don't attract as many people because you've learned your lesson. So it's literally like ending the lesson of I'm done with dealing with narcissistic people. I've learned my lesson. And then when you really integrate that and you set up your boundaries and so on and so forth, you will start to notice that you actually aren't engaging in this dynamic anymore. Even people, and I do not recommend this in a romantic dynamic. Um, it is what it is. My recommendation if you're in a dynamic like this, cut and run. Like, stop the bleeding, heal, and the divine's coming through with the friggin' shortcut for you to shift into your highest vibration. So you've already been doing some of this inner work. I can tell in this energy. You've already been processing a lot. You've already been looking at your own shadow, your own triggers, your own unhealed stuff, which hats off to you. Good job. Um, the thing is it's a fascinating thing to actually observe when it happens is when you change how you show up and you understand where people are coming from and you understand their capacity and you stop going to people for love, compassion, empathy, understanding, validation that don't have the capacity to offer that to you, and you change that part of that relationship so you stop going to somebody who does not have the capacity to show you compassion and empathy and understanding and all of these things because of their own shit, that dynamic in the relationship will change. This is where I don't recommend it with a romantic partner because it's a very one-sided type dynamic. This is something like if you have family members who are like this, you change how you show up in those relationships, but you need to have other people around you that actually do have those abilities. So if you're trying to use that technique and stay in a romantic relationship, it's going to be draining, it's going to be unbalanced, it's going to be one-sided, and it already is. Um, but it's one of those, like, when you hold back so much of yourself and you can't share that with your significant other, it now becomes a disservice to you because it's very, very draining. So, okay. Then getting into some psychology here. That's always fun. It's kind of fascinating to just people watch. It's one of my favorite pastimes. Anyways, so you're being given an out by the divine. You're being that's part of what this is about. It's you're being given an out in a it's a quantum jump. It's literally shifting how you are experiencing life and how you have been experiencing life to, like, I just heard a whole new world. Okay, voice is not quite in singing shape right now, but hearing the whole new world song by Aladdin. Um, you're being given, like, it's an escape hatch. You're being given an escape hatch by the divine to quantum jump from this experience to this experience. And this experience over here is peace and joy and harmony and evenly yoked relationships and being seen and understood and held and having people have compassion for you and you have compassion for them, and it's just it's a balanced give and take, and this is beyond just a romantic relationship, but that is definitely part of what's coming through here. But it does require you walking away from this situation. And there's a way that you're being shown that you can do it, and it doesn't have to be like massive huge changes right away. You can ease into this other reality almost. And that's part of, like, maybe it's just communicating deeper feelings to have that healing within yourself, and then that alone is going to help shift your energy to where you can fully lock into a higher version of yourself and your physical life, which does include, cornucopia. This is it's like 10 of pentacles energy. It's generational wealth kind of energy. So finances are on point, community's on point, romantic interest is on point. You've got the ability to travel if you want, do just live a very different life than what you've been doing that has been draining your energy. And it just requires taking action towards this and, and walking away at some point. Okay, and it also requires you releasing attachments. It requires you releasing, it's really pulling down that mask fully and allowing yourself to be authentically you, and then seeing who you attract at that point. Because what's meant for you will not pass you by. When you are embodying your highest version of self, then you are attracting in experiences, people, opportunities, resources that support you in that energy. But when you are straddling these two worlds, more or less, you're straddling these two versions of yourself. The universe is like, you need to pick one so that we can come in and help you. And, if you pick this one over here with, like, the kind of yuck, little bit toxic energy, you're going to keep experiencing this until you fully learn that lesson. If you're ready to fully learn that lesson, it's picking this other path and saying, okay, spirit, I'm ready. I'm ready to do what's necessary to lock in this version of myself in my life. And I'm ready for the guidance. I'm ready to follow the guidance. I'm ready to release what it is that's no longer serving. I'm ready to release these attachments. I'm ready to walk away from what's no longer serving. I'm ready to take action when I'm guided to take action, and I'm open and I'm ready to this. I've learned my lesson here. I don't want to do it anymore. It's painful, it sucks, it's not fun. And I know I'm here for more. I know I'm here to experience more and to give more you know, to others as well. And then we've got the angel of love. So this is saying that you're being given divine assistance when it comes to your love life right now. Um, this is also really talking about self-love. So make sure you are loving yourself the way that you love others. So you're supporting yourself, you're nourishing yourself, you're being kind to yourself. That's a big one. You're, giving yourself the same grace that you give other people. You are, and I'm speaking from mad experience. This is a huge part of it though, is really allowing yourself to show yourself that love. And then from that place, that helps you to attract somebody who can love you in that way as well, which you already have somebody in your energy that is capable of doing that. So, what that tells me is you've been doing a lot of internal work. You've been embracing this path quite a bit, but you've still got one foot in this other timeline. And so you're being pulled between two different versions of yourself. And now it's time to decide, do you want to be this version or do you want to be that version? And it's time to pick and it's time to fully lock in. And yeah, here's a new beginning, bright, beautiful new beginning. You're being gifted a new beginning by the divine. The divine is coming through like big time right now to help you with this. And part of this could be if this other person that you really do deeply desire, that is part of what you would consider your highest timeline, they could be a very intellectual person. They could be very intelligent. They could be very, I'm getting kind of like bookwormy energy. Maybe they read a lot. Maybe they study a lot. Maybe they research a lot, and just kind of know like a lot about a bunch of different things. And it's an energy where they're like willing to share that with others, but they're not like a know-it-all. Um, even though I just heard they do know it, like they don't know it all because none of us do, but they know like a lot. But this isn't a person that's like they're not. I just heard braggadocious. I have not heard that in years. Okay. They're not in that energy where they're like, they're not a know-it-all kind of energy. It's one of those like they're very intelligent, but they're not going to take over because they know something. They'll just be like, "Hey, yeah, I know a little bit about that." And then if you ask like, "Well, what do you know?" And then they're like, "Okay, you really want to hear about it? Here you go." Good. Um, so this is a really good energy. It is. It's a really good energy over here. This energy, not gonna lie, feels a little yucky. Um, feels very heavy, feels very painful. Um, feels like a lot of drama, a lot of just not getting along, not seeing eye to eye. Just it's just out of alignment. If you look at it that way, it's just out of alignment. You've got door to spirit. You're being invited to continue to do that inner work and connect with spirit. That's really going to help you to shift into this higher timeline. And again, you don't have to. It's just like the divine's giving you this opportunity to shift gears and to fully shift into things like soul purpose, harmonious union, harmonious connections with other people, with friends, with clients, with whatever. And a lot of assistance will be given to you on this one. This other one, you will still get divine assistance, but the assistance that's coming through on this one is, learn your lesson. Look at the like look at the unevenly balanced situation that you're in. Look at where your energy is being drained constantly. Look at where it is very unbalanced, where you're giving more than you're receiving, where it's unbalanced. It's very unbalanced and it's dealing with people who are very externally focused. This is, I need society's approval, I need parents' approval, I need this person's approval, and I need to walk around and overcompensate for this. And I'm focused on material things over anything else. And it's that kind of energy. It's more of an unconscious energy, really. Okay. The thinking man. So, you and this person over here that is more in alignment with your highest version of self, you two have an intellectual capability or capacity to really, um, it's like just getting lost in conversation with each other for like hours on end, talking about just whatever, just random stuff. But it's very, very compatible. This energy over here that's associated with your highest version of self it's a very compatible energy. This energy over here is not really compatible. Um with your true authentic self. This is somebody who is probably compatible with you when you are wearing a version of a mask, when you are showing up in a certain energy that isn't really truly your authentic self. That's where you connect with this person. This person over here is who you connect with when you are being that authentic, truest version of yourself. And it's in your energy, so you have the ability to, I'm hearing, jump ship when you want to. Um which is awesome. And then we've got the sixth chakra. That's our third eye. That's where you see, it's literally clairvoyance can come through, but it's also other psychic abilities. You know, clear seeing, clear knowing, clear hearing, clear, clairaudient, all of that. If you're interested in that, I do have a video on the different clairs. It's just extrasensory abilities. And so this is something that is also a part of your highest timeline. So it's almost like you're intuitively getting the nudge to jump ship and to go through this door and see what's on the other side of it for you. Okay. It sits in the middle of the forehead, basically, and the color's indigo. Um, it's blocked by illusion. And I feel like there's been some illusions that have been lifting for you. And that could be part of what's causing some anxiety right now is when you start to see things clearly, especially if it's a situation like this where you're in like romantic partnership with somebody that maybe you were locked in on for a while and then all of a sudden you realize it's just not for your highest good. that can that can cause some pain and some difficulty. Okay, it's not reverse. Okay, so this is not wanting to take this new beginning, and then I also heard stalling. So it's like you're stalling on this new beginning. And the thing is it's one of these things like energetically, there's something here with this other person, with this other version of yourself, where it's like the timing is perfect for you to lock into this other version of yourself. It just requires you to actually do it. Yeah, it requires you to actually cross this bridge and, walk through this door. Um, And I'm kind of seeing it's one of these things like even if you don't fully release this situation yet, once you start fully shifting into your most authentic self, once you really allow yourself to take some of those steps towards this highest timeline for you, what's going to happen is you're going to start gaining momentum on that path. And then you're going to start really seeing how much the universe comes through to assist this version of you. Because when you're in alignment, the universe comes through and is like, let's clear all these blocks because you're ready. So let's make this happen. But when you're over here and you're learning your lessons and you're going through the mud and you're dealing with all the bullshit and you're, dealing with a bunch of people and it's very reactive and it's very externally focused and so on and so forth, you're getting divine guidance, but it's this is out of alignment from your true self. So the universe, it's kind of weird, but it's one of these like the universe doesn't really come through to give you huge miracles when you're out of alignment, because it's like it like energetically can't get to you, if that makes sense. Okay, let's see, might jump into the tarot really quick and then from there. Okay. So we're gonna get into the tarot really quick. The other thing that I do want to say is to understand that the universe wouldn't be coming through like this and assisting you like this if you hadn't done enough internal work to fully anchor in this new version of yourself. So if you're kind of doubting yourself, like, well, I'm not really there, or like if you can see this other person that you really have deep feelings for that's more associated with the highest version of yourself, if I'm getting this is like a very awake and aware kind of person, they've done a lot of the internal work, things like that. If you see this person and you're like, well, I'm not to that level, so it's I'm not really in alignment with them because I'm still dealing with all of this. Energetically, you are. You wouldn't be being pushed and given this opportunity by the divine if there wasn't enough of a resonance between you and this other person. And I feel like this other person I do feel like there's a romantic energy here. I really do. But even if it's just a platonic situation or it starts out platonically, this is the type of person that can help you fully shift out of this other energy. Maybe they, know a lot about boundaries and they can help you with boundaries, or they can, help you kind of navigate getting out of this and fully detaching and walking away from this other situation. And if it's not like they're, because I'm getting like the very intellectual part, so that could be part of this, is maybe you guys are going to have like an intellectual conversation and this person's going to help you get a different perspective on the situation to fully release it. Something like that. If it's not you actually talking to this person about it, it's an energy thing. It's you aligning with somebody who is more on this timeline. It's going to help you energetically shift your energy to match that version of yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. We've got Ace of Swords. This is communication. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting yeah, it's communication. It's the sword of truth. It's the yeah, it's speaking your truth. So that's what it takes for you to cross over to this other timeline, is you communicating, and also deciding that that is what you want, and it is wish fulfillment. We've got the 9 of cups on the bottom of the deck. That's wish fulfillment. So it's emotionally fulfilling for you to shift your energy fully and allow yourself to be the best version of yourself. And the thing is when you're your best version of yourself, you're not going to mesh with a romantic partner that is very unhealed and all of that. Okay, we've got the Three of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. This is financial hardship and grief, sorrow, pain, broken heart. Um, this could be part of what's going on as well with this other. I'm saying it in timelines. So hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Basically, it's two different versions of reality that you have available to you right now. So you have this, I'm going to call it a lower timeline, just because it's a slower moving vibration. So it's not good or bad or better or worse. It's a slower moving energy over here. It's slower, it's more stagnant, it's very one foot in front of the other. This is quantum. This is this is a very different this is a higher, we could say 3D and 5D. It's however you want to term it, but I'm going to talk about it in like lower timeline versus higher timeline, because that's really what you're at. You're at this choice point. I feel like you've been here for a while. You're at this choice point of fully locking into this higher timeline. You've been doing some of the work to get here. You've had an awakening of some sort that made you aware of this other version of yourself. And now it's doing the inner work to fully shift yourself into this. And a lot of that is going to be nervous system reset, healing core wounding, childhood wounds, things like that. It's a lot of that stuff. And so this over here, this lack experience, money's it's tight, it's not really flowing a lot. It's, watching how much you spend everywhere you go to make sure that, you can cover this and cover that, maybe save a little, maybe invest a little, but it's, money's tight. That's this energy. And then, broken heart energy. This is grief, it's pain, it's sorrow, it's it's pain. It's really painful energy. So that's associated with this timeline that I feel like you've been attempting to shift out of it, and now you've got this opportunity, and you've had it for a little bit. You've had it for a while, this opportunity to fully shift. And now the divine is really coming through. Something happened in the energy recently over the past month or two where you've shifted enough to fully jump over here, and there is another person over here that will meet you in that energy. And it's almost like, yeah, it's like they're in this energy waiting for you to decide if you're going to shift or not. And it is a soulmate over here. So this is, yeah, this definitely soulmate energy that you have available over here. You got the 8 of Wands, and I'm looking at this communication card. So this is fast communication. This is rapid movement. 8 of Wands is one of the fastest moving energies in the deck. This is also the divine coming through to help give you a bunch of your manifestations and granting a bunch of wishes that you have, the more you align with your highest version of self. The more the divine's going to come through with, I heard miracles. Yeah, like this is the slow moving, you're crawling through the mud kind of energy. This is like you're on a bullet train being, conducted by the divine. And it's just people from the outside are gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, you're just so lucky. You just have such like you're just lucky." Just when you learn how manifestation works fully and start seeing it in your real life, you're like, I mean, we can call it luck, but it's conscience. But that's okay. It's a perspective. Okay, part of your highest timeline is being recognized for your efforts. This can also be in being in the public eye and sharing with the public in some way creations or communication or whatever that is true to you, that's authentic to you. And swords, that's betrayal, and it's betrayal energy. That's painful energy. um this is something that you get to leave behind, though, by fully shifting into your most authentic version of self. And I just got like all the tingles for that one. So yeah, this is something that you're leaving behind. And the 10 of wands. So we've got 10 here. 10 of wands is very heavy, it's very burdened. It's very heavy energy. Weight of the world on your shoulders. 10 of swords is betrayal, deep betrayal by those that are closest to you. And this is something that you are leaving behind the more you shift into your authentic self. This is something that you won't experience to this level when you fully shift into this other version of yourself that is your true self. This is your authentic self. This is you being unapologetically you. And knowing that there are people who love you in that energy, that love the authentic version of you. And we've got the Hierophant. This can be talking about ascension on this card. It can also be talking about like getting married. That is one of the meanings of this card. So that could be part of this. That could be part of what is on your highest timeline, is marrying a soulmate. Which is, beautiful. The other thing that it's talking about is really ascending to the highest version of yourself and really tapping into the divine and getting that divine guidance and being in alignment with your higher self. What else? The Ace of Cups. Was that reverse? Okay. The Ace of Cups is a new beginning when it comes to relationships. So that's, you're being given a new beginning when it comes to how you experience relationships, and especially with a romantic partner. Um, Time to lock in. I just heard that. It's time to lock in. Seven of Pentacles. This is waiting for your harvest. It's knowing that the work that you've been putting in wasn't all for naught. And this is knowing that and this is like inner work that's coming through. So like the deep inner work that you've been doing is has been planting the seeds for success. And so even though you might not be fully seeing the evidence of it, when the 7 of Pentacles comes up, this is the energy where you're going to start seeing it in little bits. So this is where you go to the store and you expect to spend this amount and then you actually spend less. This is where you're walking around and you find, money on the ground. even if it's, a coin. This is one of those things where you go to get, a coffee or something and somebody buys the coffee for you, or you have a free one, or, it's that kind of thing where you'll start noticing those little bits. It's like a trickle effect. And then you can also see this in other ways too. You can see this in relationships where all of a sudden you have an experience with somebody and it used to go this way where it would end in an argument and discord and all of that. And then all of a sudden you have this experience, and because you're not reacting anymore, you're responding and you're choosing not to engage in that dynamic. You walk away and you're like, oh, I actually, that would have been a shit show, but it's not. It wasn't this time. It's those little things. Those are evidence that you have been doing the work necessary to lock into this highest timeline. So pay attention to that and ask for more of those signs. Universe, please continue to show me that I am indeed locking into my highest timeline. And then watch and just pay attention. Don't look for it, but be open to it and pay attention to it when it does happen. Thank the universe. Thank you for showing me evidence that I am locking into my highest timeline. Thank you for showing me evidence that I have indeed leveled up in my healing and I did not react. And I'm proud of myself for that. Those little things. That's how you fully shift over here. It's those little things that add up to the big things. The Hermit. The Page of Swords. That's communication energy. It's also youthful energy as well. Yeah, the Page of Pentacles. It's youthful. There's a youthful energy. Okay, so we've got Page of Swords and Six of Pentacles. So Page of Swords is communication. It's also like light bulb moments. It can be insight from the divine, things like that. Brilliant business ideas and things like that coming through. This is more when you're like in the flow state and things are just smack my microphone. Things are just flowing through. That's this kind of energy. This is also, oh, that's part of this. Okay. So one with Six of Pentacles, this is a balanced give and take situation. So this is saying that when you lock into this highest version of yourself, you're going to start experiencing dynamics with other people in life in general, where it's a balanced give and take. It's not draining, it's not overgiving, it's not overtaking, it's very balanced. And then what you put out, you get back equally or greater, because you're in alignment. Okay, throwing the cards all over. The Page of Swords. What was coming through with that? There was something that was going to come through earlier that I forgot, and it came back, and it just left again. What? No. Okay, give me just a second. There's another really long message, but I'm here for it. Okay, so something that's coming through here is a dynamic that I've noticed and experienced. It's really interesting. Okay, so when you're dealing with um we'll say unhealed people. We'll put it that way. Because it's not about judging, it's just about understanding where they're at on their journey. Um when you are dealing with people who are more unhealed or out of alignment, we'll say that. When you're dealing with people who are out of alignment, what you might start to notice is your your ability to communicate openly, clearly from the heart space. It falls flat. So you could share something with somebody, and because they don't have the capacity to receive, it falls short. And sometimes this can show up in ways where it's dismissed. They glaze over. They just check out of the conversation. They look for that opening and switch it back to themselves and what they're dealing with. It can be subtle ways like that, and then it can be blatant. They interrupt you with something completely off subject, and it's very dismissive. And so what will happen is when you're in situations where you're with people who are out of alignment, the flow doesn't really happen. And so it's like communication is blocked. You're not it's the ability to pull through information is blocked. It's not coming through as clearly. Your intuition, you're not able to listen to it as much because there's all this other it's like crossed wires almost. And so it's not as clear because there's so much static with people who are out of alignment. When you shift into this energy fully and you're in alignment, and you're being true to yourself, and then you are talking to somebody, for instance, like this soulmate. When you're communicating with this soulmate, you will notice that when somebody's in alignment with you, especially if they're a soulmate, all of a sudden the ability for that communication to just flow and it's received, it's such a different experience because it'll flow and then it's received, and then maybe the conversation, you get off topic or something, but it's not in a dismissive way. It's in a, oh yeah, that made me think of this and blah 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 blah, and then oh yeah, and then there's this blah 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 blah, and then maybe you circle back, and it's a flow. Your intuition is clear, you're able to listen to your guidance better, you're able to flow that high level of communication through your being just in a very clear, unobstructed way because you're with somebody who is aligned. So that could be something, and that might be part of where, like, reaching out and communicating with this person, one, there's going to be a deep healing that takes place, but that might be something that you notice as well, especially if you haven't really dealt with a lot of people who are in alignment with this highest version of yourself. So it just pay attention to that. Just kind of observe and have fun with that and just see if that does happen. Okay, Page of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles. Okay. Two of Pentacles is it's having a lot on your plate but being able to balance it. Um and then I'm also hearing that this is also a situation where when you fully lock in and allow yourself to be your most authentic version of self, you will find more and more people or more and more resources and opportunities and things like that to really help balance this what you've got on your plate. And then you'll also find that some of it you're able to remove some of the things off of your plate. Maybe you're in a financial position where you can start hiring help for certain things. You're not having to do everything on your own all the time. So that's something that you will experience as well when you fully, allow yourself to start embodying this true authentic version of yourself. Page of Pentacles, I'm being told to read. Okay, I'll read it now. Heard. Okay, give me just a second. Manifesting new opportunities. Okay. Financial opportunities, new career paths, new connections, um, exploration, and making plans a reality. So that is something else that you are being given right now. Like when you fully decide to be the most authentic version of yourself, new beginnings, new opportunities, new connections, all of that is making its way to you as well. And then we've got the tower. This is divinely orchestrated. And I'm hearing if you choose to stay on this lower timeline, this lower vibration where you're, it's just slower moving. Again, it's not, good or bad or better or less than. It's just a different way of experiencing life. You're going to continue to get tower moments. This is major divine intervention. So you'll find that, certain opportunities are closing off. You'll find that relationships don't work out. You'll find that just things don't work out, stuff breaks. That can be part of this as well. That can be the warning signs, like if you're being asked to move and then you're like, oh no, I'm good here, I'm going to stay here, then all of a sudden this breaks, this goes wrong, this goes wrong. It's because you're out of alignment. And at this point, you've already accepted the invitation to have your spiritual awakening. So now it's time to allow yourself to fully lock in because it's such a different way of experiencing life. And then what happens when you're locked into your highest version of self, then these tower moments come through. One, you'll be able to see them coming. And so you'll be like, okay, I need to listen to the universe on this one so that I don't have to go through these painful tower moments anymore. Of course, we're still going to go through painful experiences. That's part of being a human. But it's one of those like, oh, okay, I'm being asked to move because I've outgrown this environment. So I'm going to allow the guidance and the resources to come in to make this happen. And then you're going to avoid that whole mess of, being forced out of that location, basically. Same thing with relationships, jobs, so on and so forth. So if you've been experiencing a lot of that right now, it's because you're being pushed into this timeline. And so it's going to continue to get more uncomfortable, more unpleasant, more painful the more you try and stay on this other timeline where it's out of alignment with your true self. Okay. Yeah, you hit a certain point on this journey where you'll get the awareness of like, okay, it's time to let this go. And you're like, fucking all right, let's do it. Like, I'm ready. I'm letting go of everything. And then the universe is like, good job. You ready to jump and surrender? Yep, let's do it. Okay, cool. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, that was such a cool experience. I just got the best new opportunity. I met the perfect person that can help me with this project. It all of a sudden you'll start to see that divine orchestration just working in your favor because you are choosing to stay in alignment. So that's just a different way of experiencing life. And then over here we've got the hermit mode. The hermit the hermit mode. We've got the hermit card, which is hermit mode. This is going within, this is doing that introspection. This is studying, maybe it's looking into hidden knowledge and learning a bunch about that and stuff like that. It's deep introspection. Um and it's a very expansive time, but what it really is it's about you pulling away from things that are out of alignment, going within, going into your little bubble, into your little shell, and doing that inner work. And then when it's time, then you come out of hermit mode and you people and you have experiences and you do things. And then, you'll be guided back into hermit mode when it's time. That's kind of just how this journey goes. Okay, Ten of Pentacles. This is part of your highest timeline. This is the cornucopia card in the other deck. This is master manifesting abilities. This is building an empire. This is building a legacy. This is building something that you can leave behind for other generations. This is multi-generational wealth. This is extreme stability. This is stability with the extra ability to help take care of other people financially as well, if that is something that you're called to do. Like it's one of those, you have the resources to do so without blinking an eye. Um, shit. Okay. We've got the Knight of Wands and the Lovers. So this is counterpart energy. So that could be part of this. You could have a counterpart soulmate that is waiting for you. Um, if it's not technically a divine counterpart, it's going to be a relationship that's very similar. This is very high level soulmate. Very, you're compatible, you are on the same page, you want the same things out of life, you work together instead of in opposition, instead of this push pull back and forth arguing, I want to do this, you want to do this, and it's completely opposite directions. This is okay, I want to do this, and oh yeah, I want to do the same thing. Well, my version looks a little different than yours, so how do we come together and combine them? It's a very different way of experiencing another person. um and then the Knight of Wands, this is passionate energy. It's also fast moving energy as well. This is a very fast moving knight. So it's really tapping into that creative energy, that passionate energy, and really being able to tap into that, and tap into your creativity and passions, and live from that kind of energy, instead of, maybe over here on the lower timeline it's like a 9 to 5 situation. It's a job. It's a something you do so you can pay your bills. This is the energy over here of, I'm going to do this creative pursuit and this creative passion because it makes me, happy. It pulls me into the flow state. It taps me into spirit. And, all of a sudden, oh damn, I can present these creations to the world. And that's part of what helps me to lock in this Ten of Pentacles energy, this financially abundant energy. Five of Cups. This is lack mentality. This is looking at missed opportunities, missed you know, forgotten dreams and all of that. It's yeah, it's lack mentality. It's focusing on what is going wrong versus what can possibly go right. It's that kind of energy. I feel like this is something that you will continue to leave behind the more you tap into your most authentic version of self. Okay. Four of Cups, that's stagnancy and boredom. Um, okay. All right. So, where are we at? Four of Cups, stagnancy and boredom. Um, yeah, that's what's coming through with that. Seeing if anything else wanted to come through. Yeah, it's just it's not being happy with life. It's just being low key bored, low key, just like I really want more out of life, but I guess there's just not more for me. It's that kind of energy, but there is so much more for you, and you're on the brink of it. So do your best to shift your focus. Instead of looking at things in a more pessimistic way, do your best to shift into more of an optimistic way. That's not, don't spiritual bypass. Don't look at the silver lining and avoid the pain or the difficulty. It's looking at, okay, I'm going through this painful thing because it's for my highest good. I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with because I'm cleaning up, an unconscious way of living for a very long time. And now I'm shifting into a more conscious way of living. So I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on what is coming for me, what I'm shifting into versus everything that went wrong or all the boredom or, stagnancy or just being unsettled, unhappy, not filled up. Oh, there's a little bunny outside. You could be seeing rabbits right now. That could be extra confirmation. I just heard year of the rabbit. So maybe you're a Chinese zodiac sign that's a rabbit. Okay. That was a very random confirmation. So that might be applicable for some of you. Okay. Um then we've got the fool. So it is requiring a leap of faith. It's requiring you to surrender and take this jump. And when you do, it's literally leading to a life of positivity, joy, bliss, happiness. Yeah, again, it's such a different way of experiencing life. It's where you wake up and you're literally living your dreams every day. Um, yeah, it's just a different way of living life, man. Three of Pentacles. This is collaboration. This is working with others. Um, this is something that is a part of your highest timeline. And it's interesting because I'm getting a lone wolf energy from you. So maybe you're used to working alone, and that's going to be an adjustment for you when you fully lock into this, is actually allowing other people to help you and knowing that other people are going to show up for you and not drop the ball constantly because you're attracting different types of people into your experience now. You're attracting people who can actually support you, who can actually follow through, who, when they tell you they're going to do something, they're going to do it. It's that kind of energy, and this is the type of people that you can rely on and actually build an empire with. Seven of Swords is like a deceitful energy. It's illusions. And I feel like that's something that is lifting. I feel like you're starting to see that this over here, this dream timeline that you are being shown, because you've been being shown certain visions, or maybe if you're daydreaming and then you're thinking about all these beautiful possibilities, some of those are actually visions being given to you from the divine that are possibilities that are in your energy. And I feel like you're actually starting to see that this is not an illusion. This is real. This is a real possibility for you. And as nerve wracking as that is, it's one of those, like, sometimes there is a fear of success. There is a fear of shining too bright, because if you've been around people where you have to play small to make them comfortable, stepping into your full power and shining, there can be a block there. So maybe that's something that you're being asked to look at because, it is going to trigger those people that you've had to play small around. And so you might get some backlash from it, but that doesn't mean to stop doing it. That just means that you are outgrowing people, places, and things that you have been around. And now you are opening up and you are expanding into a version of yourself where you can attract people and experiences and places and things into your life that can handle you in your fullness, in your full power. And it's not in an ego way. I'm not saying power in an ego way. I'm saying you truly holding your highest version of self and anchoring that in. That's a powerful energy. And it is going to trigger the holy fuck out of a lot of people, especially if they're very unhealed. And it's just, you get used to it. You get used to it and you start to realize it's not about you. It's about them not taking the invitation that you're offering them by showing them the way that you can live life. They're not taking that invitation to do that inner work and to rise and meet you. So they're going to turn around, be the victim, and project it onto you. And, oh, well, I just wasn't lucky. Oh, I just had this trauma when I was a kid. And it's like, okay, understand that's a story you're perpetually telling yourself that's keeping you in this energy. Anyways, I'm going on rants over here. All right, three of cups. This is collaboration energy again. This is happy, harmonious connections and really enjoying the company of other people and not having to hold so much of yourself back in certain rooms with, friends and things like that, and having to have your guard up all the time and all of that. This is the energy where you can let your guard down. You can just be you. It's received, and it's just it's yeah, it's happy, harmonious connections, man. Five of Wands, this is conflict energy. And so I feel like this is kind of talking about some of the conflict you might be experiencing, especially when you're tapping into your highest version of self. It is going to cause conflict with other people that you've been around that have been engaging with you in a way from a more unconscious place. And so it's just understanding that this is a normal part of the journey. It's something everybody that I know of that is walking this path has experienced and does experience. And you'll just kind of get used to it at a point where you don't take it personal. And that's the biggest thing, is understand, like, it's your energy is causing a reaction in somebody else, but that is not your responsibility to take on. That is something that, it's just an energy thing. You're triggering people and you're giving them an invitation to rise into their highest version of self. A lot of people, especially walking the unconscious path, are telling themselves 15 different stories on why they can't do what it is that you're doing, and then they're going to project that onto you. It has nothing to do with your worth, it has nothing to do with your character. It's simply an energetic dynamic that happens when you are embodying your most authentic self. Most people are not embodying their authentic self yet. There is a huge shift happening, which is beautiful, but most people are not in this energy where they're embodying their authentic self. So you are still one of the first people out of the gate that are really doing this. And so you're going against the grain. You're showing people a different way that it's possible to live. And it's very highly triggering to people who are telling themselves stories that they don't have the ability to do that, when indeed they do. It's just a whole hell of a lot of inner work. you know, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Okay, let's see if anything else wants to come through. Okay, and the Knight of Cups, or the Two of Swords. Hey, this is indecision about a romantic offer. Um, Two of Swords can also indicate denial. So this could be indicating that you're coming out of denial when it comes to a romantic situation. Um, you know, yeah. So, and I do feel like there is that indecision energy, like the indecision on whether you actually reach out and fully attempt to lock in this highest version of yourself, or if you just play it safe and stay over here. I feel like you're still kind of straddling that line. Page of Wands, that reverse. That was in reverse. Okay, I will read that in just un moment. Okay. I had to get a drink of water. Give me just a second. The Page of Wands in reverse is limiting beliefs, creator angst, a need to direct your energy, feeling eager to start something new but confronted by obstacles, hot-headedness, and being rebellious. Um, that that kind of feels like the energy that you embodied when you were more in an unconscious state. This is an energy that you're shifting out of. Um, and because of that, you could be dealing with a lot of people around you who are still embodying that energy. It's a process. When you shift like this, it's a process. It takes time. It takes a lot of determination. It takes a lot of like willingness to continue to lock onto the highest path. When all of a sudden you look around and it's kind of one of those things that you kind of hit a certain point and you realize like almost nobody that I'm talking to really has my back. They're really not, you know, here for me when I need them. It's that kind of thing. And it's painful. It's painful to process that. But the thing is it's one of those, these are unevenly yoked dynamics. So the thing is, because you're changing and you're shifting, your tolerance for these types of dynamics lowers because you're embodying a new version of yourself. And so when you're in a different energy and you're coming from a more healed place, you're not as reactive, you're not as if you were hot-headed, you're not reacting all the time. You're more just kind of calm, cool, collect, and you're just like, yep, I'm not engaging in this anymore. People will try to get the same reactions out of you. And then the less you take the bait, the more that dynamic shifts. And so it's really starting to see when people are offering you an invitation to engage in an argument or a draining dynamic and then rejecting it and just like, oh, nope, moving right along. Maybe you change the subject, maybe you excuse yourself and you leave, whatever it is. But you're just not engaging in those same behaviors anymore. It's very it gets to a point where it's a process because you have to release those types of connections and dynamics and then shift your energy to where then you open up and you start experiencing new versions of connections. And sometimes there's like a middle ground where you'll experience like a higher level of connection with like friends and stuff than what you used to experience, but it's still not truly evenly balanced. And then, you learn from that experience and then you fully shift. And then you start experiencing people who are in that energy to really truly hold you and see you and support you on your, dream timeline. So just give yourself some grace going through this because this is a process. It's an untangling process. It's an unlearning process. It's a reprogramming process. It's literally you changing from the inside out. And when you tap more into your authenticity and you heal some of those childhood wounds and those core wounds, and you start to change how you're looking at things and how you're experiencing life, it's kind of a process. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's a process. So make sure you're giving yourself grace to go through this process. It will be very worth it though. It will be very, very worth it. Like you're on the brink of shifting fully to where you can build an empire and have like big, big money, like big financial assistance or resources, opportunities, loving connections, just it's such a different life. It's such a different life. Um, so it's worth it. It really is worth it. Okay. You are indeed manifesting this. So this is the divine coming through to answer your prayers and bring you this wish fulfillment. It just might not be in the way that you originally thought. And that might be part of what you're struggling with is I feel like you've been asking for these things, this higher version of yourself to come through. And when that happens, part of this process of detaching is detaching from certain things. So if you were in a romantic connection and then you're like, okay, I'm going to shift into my highest version, and then this person that I'm with is going to shift into theirs, and then we're going to live happily ever after and build an empire together. Maybe not. Maybe that other person chooses not to rise with you, and that sucks. It does. But it's one of those at some point you're going to be asked to let go of whatever is no longer in alignment with you. And so it might just look a little bit different than what you originally thought. And that could be part of what you're dealing with right now that's causing some anxiety and some, pain is by realizing that it's actually going to take you letting go of something that you thought was going to come with you or someone that you thought was going to come with you into this next phase of life. And that is something to process, to allow yourself to process. Um, but it's understanding that by letting go of what no longer serves, the divine can now bring you what it is that is actually in alignment, that does fulfill you from the soul level. Seven of Wands. This is talking about staying grounded and protecting yourself. Um, So, yeah, this could just be a call to action to continue to ground your energy, cleanse your energy, stay protected, and spiritual hygiene. That's really what's coming through with that one. High Priestess, this is talking about listening to your intuition. I feel like your intuition is going through a level up right now, an upgrade. So make sure you're really tapping into that intuition and following that guidance and allowing that to be the compass of your life, basically, like the GPS of your life. Listen to your intuition even when it doesn't logically make sense, but make sure you're actually listening to your intuition and not fearful, anxious thoughts. Okay. Justice. Things are balancing out. When you allow yourself to fully shift into this highest version of yourself, you are going to find that all of the effort, energy that you put into other people, things, places, etc., will come back to you in different ways that are going to be very, very fulfilling. So that is something that you get to look forward to. Is this experience where you were living more unconsciously and engaging in more of these kinds of dynamics? It wasn't all wasted. The energy that you gave to other people, even if it wasn't received by them, all of that energy isn't going to be just lost. You're getting it back the more you shift into this highest version of yourself. There's the Nine of Swords. That's anxiety. That's really stuck up in your head. That's really insomnia kind of energy, just stressed out, anxious, all of that. That's something that when you really allow yourself to truly lock into the energy of I'm going to be my highest self, I'm going to tap into my most authentic version of self, this is something that will continue to lift. Just know that. On the bottom of the deck, we have Knight of Swords. This is fast communication. This is taking your truth and bringing it to somebody. This can also be talking about like speaking your truth online, something like that. But in this energy, I'm really getting that it's the need to communicate with somebody that is associated with your highest timeline. Okay. If anything else wants to come out, then I'm gonna close it. It's a very long reading. The moon. And that's things hidden coming to light. Okay. And death and rebirth. So there are things that are being illuminated to you right now that are putting an end to a cycle in some way and allowing you to tap into this rebirth energy. And I feel like it's closing out the cycle of the old way of living, of the unconscious way of living, and allowing yourself to be rebirthed into this new authentic version of you that's unapologetically you, which is the most beautiful, awesome version of you. Okay, you're going from the Seven of Cups, which is having a lot of options, not knowing which one to pick. Maybe one's fulfilling, maybe not really. They kind of fall short. Um, to the Ten of Cups, which is true happily ever after emotional fulfillment. This is being truly seen and loved by somebody in their full capacity, and then you reciprocating that energy. So you're shifting from this where it's like you've got a lot of options, but none of them truly are like a full match for you. Maybe you have fun, maybe you enjoy each other, maybe you enjoy each other's kids if you have kids, stuff like that. Like it's still fun, but it's not deeply emotionally fulfilling where you're just waking up every day like, I can't believe I get to wake up next to you every day. It's that kind of a shift that you're in for. And you just get to allow yourself to have it. An Empress on the bottom of the deck. That's divine feminine energy. So that's that's part of this highest timeline as well. So if I feel like for most of you I've been talking to a masculine. So if you are a masculine, this is saying that you are shifting into an energy where you are aligning with a true divine feminine. If you are a feminine, then this is saying that by you truly locking into your most authentic version of self, you are aligning with your true divine feminine nature, which is going to automatically magnetize a divine masculine to you as long as you are allowing it. Okay. Anything else? And Six of Cups. Six of Cups is nostalgic. Childhood memories, things like that. Um, so this person that's associated with your highest timeline could be somebody from the past. It could also indicate because you're soulmates that you've had a past life together or multiple past lives together. Um, and then this is also just reminiscing on happier times, brighter days, that kind of thing. And then what I'm hearing is if that is the case, if that's what you've been doing, you're not going to need to do that as much when you shift into your highest timeline because you're shifting into that type of energy in the now moment. So you'll be waking up in that lighthearted, happy, brighter days energy in the now moment. You're not going to need to reminisce to tap into that energy anymore. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. With that, I'm going to go ahead and leave this here before it turns into a 3-hour long message. Okay. Well, I hope this helps. Wishing you all the best. You got this. Just keep choosing yourself, keep choosing the most authentic version of you. It's so worth it. All of the pain and trials and tribulations that you've been dealing with are a thing of the past here very soon. The more you really lock into this highest version of yourself. So just know that. Keep focusing on that. You got this. You wouldn't be on this journey if you didn't have all the tools and resources available to you to really anchor this in. You've got this. And the world needs you in your most authentic, beautiful version of self. So there's that too. Alrighty. I hope this resonates. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to talk to you about it. Feel free to hit that like button. It does help out the channel, so thank you. And if you would like to see more from me, you can hit subscribe. It is free. I will see you on the next message. Bye.